I was gonna come up with something really exciting to say, and then I like froze. So I'll just say, welcome to Romance Happy Hour. I don't know. I was thinking of something clever in my head, Dawn, and all of a sudden
Went
I was
out.
gonna say something like, it must be Thursday because it's Romance Happy Hour. But yeah, it just fled. So welcome to Romance Happy Hour. I'm Dylann Crush, and I'm here with Dawn Luedecke and our guest, Codi Gray, tonight.
Yes.
Hi.
So we're so excited you're with us. I'm sorry that I had like a super obvious brain fart as we started our show tonight. We were
Oh,
just,
no. No
It's
need to
probably the
apologize.
funnest entry ever right
I don't
now.
know.
Yeah.
It has been, I don't know. It's been a day. I'd say it's been a day, but like, I feel like I've just been off for months because, I went to Greece and then I came back and then it was the holidays and I still have kids home that haven't gone back to school yet. And so it's just, I am so off. I'm so
Yeah.
off.
So first of all, I'm jealous that you went to Greece.
Oh my gosh, yes. It was a
Yeah,
big deal. It was a
I
big deal.
that is so cool. I understand the whole being off and like woo. So yeah. If things get weird during this hour, I apologize. I have a full house and right now I don't have an office. So I am hiding in my bedroom. You can see my bedroom door behind me. So if I all of a sudden lurched forward and there's a big crash, it's probably because my husband is like trying to come into the bedroom and doesn't realize that this is happening because he's forgotten.
That will be a first, but we have had cat sabotage.
Oh,
the-
yes.
our readers before.
I got 5 of those and I got a great Pyrenees. She's sleeping on the floor right now, but like when she gets agitated, she'll be like up in the grill, like, "What's up, mom? What you doing?"
Oh, is she with you right now?
She is.
Okay.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Because Dawn has a big dog. I have a Great Dane and a rescue mutt. And then Dawn has a huge Mastiff.
An English Mastiff, and then we just got a toy Aussie. So she's like 8 pounds.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, my husband got her for Christmas, and apparently she thinks she's my best friend instead of his because she just follows me everywhere and wants
Oh.
to be like in my hands all the time. She's a
We
sweetie.
haven't seen her yet.
No,
Mm.
no,
We
maybe
need to
later.
meet her.
Well,
We
maybe
need to
later
bring
I'll
her
go
on.
grab her. I will.
Yeah,
Later.
I think so.
If Stephanie doesn't show up, we'll have Mishka come and say
Oh,
hi.
we'll just have a pet happy hour.
Yeah,
Like,
we're
lots of
supposed to have Stephanie here. I'm not sure if we had miscommunication on time or if maybe she doesn't have internet tonight or something. But maybe Stephanie will end up joining us. Otherwise, we've got an awesome guest here tonight, Codi Gray.
Yes.
I see Catherine is joining us. So
Yeah.
thank you, Catherine, for introducing us to Codi. She came on. She's here. We're excited to hear from you in a little bit. But before we get to that, Dawn, how in the heck have you been?
I've been. I mean, I'm still alive, and that's where we're
Okay.
at in 2025. But
Okay, that's
no,
good.
I'm doing good.
Alive is good. I feel like a lot of people are just feeling, like they're just
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah. I'm working on this historical, and of course I've got the writer's block going on, but I'm trying not to insert a beaver
Mm-hmm.
because
mean-
it's like the second scene of the book. I'm like, okay, this is too like
Dawn,
I've
it's
written a little
never
bit
too
more, but like
early.
I'm adding like right there, and I'm like, okay.
It's never too early to insert a beaver in your book, Dawn. I mean, you should know that. It should be a challenge. I mean, you could I don't know what your book is about, but you could do like a beaver shaped grilled cheese sandwich. I mean, you could do anything.
Well, it's a historical, so if
Yeah.
anything, like I would be like, oh, his hat's made out of beaver fur.
Sure.
I don't know, like something.
Now, are we talking American historical?
Yeah.
British historical, Scottish, like where historical are we at?
American historical in the
Oh,
late
okay.
1800s. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we definitely need the top hats.
Yeah.
The beaver hats. That's
Or
awesome.
cowboy. I mean, you can even do cowboy hats too. They use beaver fur because it's like
Really?
yeah.
Traders.
Beaver
Traders.
cowboy hats?
Yeah, because it's waterproof.
I've never seen a beaver. No, you have to get a picture. I have to see this. I've never seen a beaver
sure about
cowboy
that.
hat.
Okay.
I think
I
we're gonna
need this
see-
picture, and then I'm probably going to be traumatized by this picture. because then all I'm gonna see is like a cowboy hat with like beaver teeth. Like,
Okay.
oh my
I
gosh.
feel like that
I'll
would
look
be a
it up.
very thick cowboy hat if it
Well,
made out of
I
beaver.
I've been on a it's so funny that you bring that up. I've been on a Western kick when it comes to like shows and movies and stuff. I
Mhm.
watched American Primeval
Ooh,
and when
yeah.
I was sick and
we just
like
finished that too.
I binged it. It was like, it reminded me so much of 1883
Yes.
by, and then I'm like, then I rewatched 1883, and then it was like, I need something else, but there is nothing else that is like speaking to me.
Mhm.
So now I'm like, now I just need a romance like Western set where they're like going on the Oregon Trail, but it's like kind of dark because you've got all the darkness and the
Mhm.
that's the funny thing. You think about Little House on the Prairie and all of these like sweet, shows that they, dealt with, the settlers and everything. And you really like it was a dark time.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
seriously like menacing dark time.
Uh-huh. Well, and in that show especially. I mean, you don't
Oh
like
yeah.
the way something's going. I mean, people just I don't know.
Killed ya.
Yeah, took a shovel to the head or something like that, and that was it. So,
Right. I know. And that was interesting because I didn't know that was a particular historical event that I'd never even heard of. So I was like, what's
mhm.
this? So then I'm like deep diving research.
Mhm.
I must know all about this. But
Yes.
that was
Yep.
crazy.
No,
Okay.
Okay.
that was really interesting.
Uh-oh.
You guys got to ask AI.
Oh,
Beaver
no.
hats were a popular fashion item for men
No.
in Europe and North America for centuries and were used to make cowboy hats in the 1800s.
Interesting.
That is
Yeah.
so weird.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were asking AI to generate a
No. I was
picture
just
of a cowboy
it,
beaver hat, and I
I
was gonna
mean
get a little worried about that because I had no idea what you would come up with.
Oh my god.
no, it's just a regular cowboy hat. They just use the beaver fur because it's waterproof.
Interesting. Well, I
Okay.
mean, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
And it was
all right.
readily available in the West.
No,
That's true. That
that's
is true.
I know. I think about all the poor little beavers that were just minding their own business, and then they were turned into cowboy hats.
And top hats.
Ugh, yeah, and those awful top hats. I'm like, whoever thought that looked good?
The English.
Yeah, apparently. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Before we get too much further into the conversation, Cody, why don't you introduce yourself
Yeah.
and tell everybody what you write, what kind of romance you write, and just a little bit about yourself, whatever you'd like to share.
Okay, well, hi, I'm author Codi Gray. Sometimes I go by author Cody Hall, especially if it's Christmas time, because I write Christmas specifically under my Cody Hall name. I've written over 30 I've published over 30 books. I have written many, many more that didn't see the light of day. But that's how the cookie crumbles. I have like a whole folder on my computer dedicated to all of these manuscripts that I'm going to go through and fix and throw up as indie when I have time. I only have one sweet series. It's the Cat Cafe Meowin' Forever series. The rest have naughty bits in them. So I like to go to events and have my naughty and nice Christmas table where I have my nice Christmas book over here and then all my naughty ones over here. And people are like, this is askew. Yeah. Uneven,
Love
That is
whatever.
clever. Mhm.
Let's see what else. I live in Idaho. I have a husband and I have teenage vermin, which are always fun. I have 3 dogs, big dogs, and 5 cats, and we have one obnoxious bungee. Trying to think. No, that's it. Yeah.
So you don't have to say on screen if you don't want to, but later at least tell me where in Idaho.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I
Go.
don't care. I live in the Twin Falls area.
Okay.
So like high desert.
Yeah.
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 So,
My sister and brothers live in Boise, and I
oh, okay.
actually graduated high school from Idaho Falls. So,
Oh, okay. And then you hop the fence over in Montana. That's awesome.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, after living in a billion places, because no matter where our guests are from, it seems like Dawn has lived there.
Yes.
That's
Right,
awesome.
Catherine? That's what the military will do for you.
Well, yeah. She told me that she got her orders and everything. And I want to say, was it Maryland? Baltimore?
Yeah, they're moving
Yeah.
again.
It was sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud, but it was I remember when she told me, the first thing I thought was, "Good morning, Baltimore." Sorry. So, got a little bit of crazy singing going on there.
So I didn't know we had a singing author on the show tonight.
Oh God,
This is
no.
a first. Are you going to sing your book to us, or
Oh
are
no,
we
no, I was just being silly. No,
Yeah.
I like Hairspray. I like musicals and everything. I'm a
Uh-huh.
terrible singer. No. It was like,
That would be new though if we had a singing performance of a book instead of
oh yeah, I embarrassed my
author reading.
students. Embarrassed my students during lunch today because I'm like, I got on antibiotics after having a lung infection. I've been like up and down for the last 3 months since I had pneumonia. And so I went to the doctor, got some meds, and I'm feeling a little better today. And so at lunchtime, it was 16 degrees here in Idaho this morning. And by the time that we got around lunchtime, it was probably about 25, 30 degrees. And so the kids got to go outside. And of course, two of my students are like, "We're freezing, Mrs. Gary. We're freezing." And I'm like, "How can you be freezing?" I'm like, "The sun is shining. It is beautiful outside. The girls are all flirting." And they're like, "Okay, knock it off." Like, "We're done with you, Mrs. Gary. Stop being
So
cringy."
what do you teach?
So I teach study skills to middle schoolers. I'm currently in school to get my bachelor's degrees. So I'm technically a para. I am in my last term. I'm in my last term at Southern New Hampshire University for an English lit major. So that's going to be done in just 6 weeks. In 6 weeks,
Nice.
I'll be all done
Congratulations.
and everything, and then I'll go for my teaching certificate here in Idaho and decide what I want to do from there. It was just, my husband was going back to school and he wanted to do something different, and I just wanted to finish my bachelor's. That's all. I just wanted to have that under my belt in case there was anything. Writing is my passion, it's my love. But you can get a lot. You can have so many more doors open to you. And that's what I wanted. So that's what I'm doing. And so when my students are like, "What's the matter, Mrs. Gary? Why are you so tired?" I'm like, "Let's see. I'm working, I'm writing, I'm going to school, I'm teaching you." Like, I mean, I'm exhausted.
I'm tired just listening to you talk about that.
Right? So, but I have wonderful students. In fact, I was sick for 2 days. When I was sick for 2 days and I came back, this is my first day back, I got tons of hugs and screams, "Mrs. Gary!" running down the hallway. It was awesome. It made me feel good. I'm like, well, thank goodness y'all love me. So
nice.
I even got to see some of my kids who have gone up to the high school because they're doing a drama class, and they came walking out and they're like, "Mrs. Gary!" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what are you troublemakers doing here?" So it was fun. So I enjoy it. I've had many different hats throughout my life and everything. Writing is my absolute passion, but I love different experiences because then it gives me inspiration.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. So you write under 2 different pen names.
Yes.
And you have how many Christmas books? Like just Christmas, because you're under Codi Hall, you only write Christmas books. Are they full length and are they all connected?
So under Codi Hall, they are all full lengths, 90,000 words. I have the Mistletoe series, which is in Mistletoe, Idaho. It's 3 siblings who find love. Their parents own a Christmas tree farm. It's fantastic. Of course, I have to say that because it's mine. And then I have the spinoff series, which is Fall falling in mistletoe, and it's all of their two best friends, three best, or like it's their friends and like and family finding love, because like the older brother of the second book is finds his match in the spinoff series. So it's fun because they're all interconnected and you get to see those other characters. And then under Codi Gray, I wrote the first book in my Meowin' Forever series. This is the second book. This is Finding Mr. Perfect, which I know, I'm sorry with the glare. But the first book is A Cat Cafe Christmas. It's super sweet, very Hallmarky vibes. It's about a marketing executive who finds a kitten, and the veterinarian who co-owns a cat cafe with her best friend, and it's not doing well. And so he asks for her help and she asks for his help in order to save the cafe. And there's lots of kitteny chaos and fun. And then my other Christmas book is a standalone, and it is All I Want Is You This Christmas. So for all of my, NSYNC fans, but they are but it is a PS I Love You-esque second chance romance. I was inspired by Thomas Rhett's Marry Me, because it just like that song just was making me cry, and I'm just sitting there, and then somehow I ended up watching PS I Love You, and these two things just merged together. And so there's the scene like between the best friends where he's like, don't marry him, come with me, I love you, and she's like, I'm not gonna do that, because I love romantic comedies, but like Maid of Honor and like even Grey's Anatomy, you can't come in. Even Grey's Anatomy, where I am a total April Kepner and dang it, Jackson Avery fan. Total like in fact, when they were doing her dirty, the writers and everything, and I stopped watching Grey's Anatomy. I was like, no, y'all done them dirty, and I'm done with you. Anyway, but the fact that she just like, you wait that long to realize how much you love somebody else, and then you just walk away in the middle. No, I mean, I understand it's better that you end it like at some point before you take that leap, but no, like that's horrible. That's embarrassing. Like who would forgive that? Humiliating you in front of your entire family and friends? Absolutely not. So that's what like kind of inspired that whole book. And it was my first book I had written in 18 months too. So it kind of got me out of my heartbreak slump. I was having just a really dark time, and it was my palate cleanse. And then I jumped into mistletoe, and then it's feeling crazy. So yeah, so that's 8 Christmas books. So that's 8 Christmas books out of my like 33. So yeah. Okay. And I'm pulling some of my books and like giving them a revamp. I'm putting new covers on. So I'm doing a lot in 2025 because this is going to be my year. You know what? You're right. I am a singing author. I'm just like a new girl, except for I can't carry a tune. So then it's like, it's annoying and it's like crazy. So it's totally cringe. But
I love your passion.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I got something going for me.
What is your favorite subgenre to write?
Oh, see, I'm a friends to lovers girl, like big time. That is my favorite trope. I guess that's not really is that a subgenre? What would you think? Like
trope? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But like, do you
give me some subgenres, because I'm like trying to think in my head.
Do you like to write sweet or
no, I spice
more?
Yeah, I in fact, the only reason why I wrote the sweet romance was because my editor and publisher was kind of like, well, with A Cat Cafe Christmas, it should be sweet. That's a sweet title and everything, and we can market you to a different audience and everything. And I'm like, okay, but nothing else in my backlist is sweet. There's nothing else. And I know an author who actually hit it big with her sweet stuff. So she went back through her entire backlist and like got rid of all the spice. So now all her books are just sweet. And I'm like, girl, you're doing too much.
I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of authors, or
But
they'll have both options.
yeah.
Where you can get the open door scenes, or you can get the same book with fade to black or
Yeah.
whatever. So
I've thought about that for my for these two sweet ones, because I do have the deleted scenes.
mhm.
But it's it's just one more thing on my to-do list. So
Yes,
um
it sounds
Well,
like your
yeah.
to-do list is pretty full already.
yeah, I have a very, very full list. What are you doing? That there is something blocking the door. It's me.
So sorry, my phone's ringing. It's spam. It's
What?
spam ringing. My
Oh,
phone was ringing.
Oh, sorry,
It's
I
spam,
wasn't
of
sure what
course.
you were doing over there.
No, sorry. I was like, oh, my phone's ringing. I do want to put Catherine has a question. I was going to save it till later, but actually, it fits in with what you were just saying. So she said, "Didn't you have to scrap a scene involving a table?"
yes, and oh my gosh, I love that picture so much. He's so pretty. Anyway, back to yes. Yeah, I told you about that. They were getting down and dirty. He had lifted her up on the table, and there were things happening. I'm keeping it clean here, but yeah, and then I was told that we can't go from sweet la 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 to NC-17. I'm like, why not? I do it with every other book. It's like usually it's like my books usually run anywhere from like 1.5 to 3 scenes. So they're not like heavy spice like
Sure.
centric. They're story centric. But I like that. I like the spice. And and so when it was very odd to write no spice.
I'm not sure I'd know how to write
Oh, it's so hard.
romance without the steam.
Especially,
Yeah.
and I know we can't use the word on here, but my
Uh-huh.
F-bombs,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like I didn't know what to do without my F-bombs. So in fact, I had to come up with really
Mhm.
creative cuss words just to give me that release while I was writing. So one of my favorites is son of a biscuit eating leprechaun.
Uh-huh. There you go.
And I turned it into a sticker because I was like, "Ah!"
I like it.
Yeah.
So
So
that
yeah,
probably, instead of just relying on that, then you actually had to get a little bit more creative. So you were
mhm,
flexing your creative muscles there.
yes.
And you said you turned it into stickers. So do you give those stickers away
Ye-
for swag and yours?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so and I have stickers of Daisy with little reindeer antlers on, my Great Pyrenees. You can hear my chaos in the background probably, and I apologize in advance. I have 5 children in the house right now, so it's crazy. Um, but yeah, I love stickers. In fact, I wish I was better at designing them. Last year when I knew I was releasing, I apologize. 10 things I hate about mistletoe. The animal, each one of them has a dog. And so the first one was my parents' corgi mix. And so she is, I changed her name for the book, but she's the inspo.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my students last year actually designed the sticker for her for that book.
Oh, wow.
Aw.
And yeah, she was a 7th grader last year. She's an 8th grader this year. It was so funny. I went to her and I'm like, this year, before I went to Christmas Con, I'm all, hey, will you design these other 2 stickers for me? I'll pay you again. And she was like, I don't really have the time, Mrs. Gary. And I'm
Oh,
like,
no.
okay, fine. So it's okay. But
Yeah.
she did a really, really good job. In fact, if you guys want, I will send you books and stickers. So you guys can like see them for yourself in person because
Oh,
it just doesn't do
awesome.
them justice.
See, it's
Yeah.
not just me. It's phone calls tonight.
I know.
Was
I'm
that you,
sorry. That was
Yep.
my oldest.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I forgot to mute my phone. I don't know. I feel like it's just chaos tonight.
I know. I forgot to mute my family.
Yeah. Well, my family doesn't have a mute setting, unfortunately.
I know.
The
I know.
youngest is gone
Oh,
right now, so that's why it's a little bit more quiet at my house.
how many kids do you have?
I have 3.
You have
Yeah.
3, and how old are they?
I have 21, 19, and a 16.
Oh,
So,
nice. Okay.
but the 16-year-old is a boy, and so he's
I have
he's
a 16-year-old
loud.
boy too. I understand.
Yes.
Mhm.
How about you, Dawn?
I have 4. I have a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old, and then a 10 and 11-year-old.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
last year and the year before, it was, or 2 years, 2 years before that, it was chaos. Like, I mean, the first couple of years. I mean, okay, so to be fair to me, the first couple of years we did romance happy hour. We were living in an RV with our 4 kids after losing everything at Hurricane Harvey. So
Oh,
they had to leave. I would like kick them out of the RV. I'm like, go. And so they drive around for an hour.
oh my God.
I pulled up an old video, Dawn,
Yeah.
like one of the, because I was looking at our playlist on YouTube or something, and like one of the back, images pulled up of the screen. I was like, oh my gosh, that was back when Dawn was living in the RV.
Yeah.
Oh my.
28-foot RV with 4 kids.
Oh my gosh.
2 of them were toddlers, right? Toddler and like pre-K.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
I don't even like camping for like longer than a week. So
Yeah.
like, no, that I would be like, ah! But I understand like there's so many benefits to it too, especially if you're like looking to buy a house and you want the perfect
Mhm.
house, so you're saving money. Like that's what my another author who lives in town, that's what they did. They were living in an RV for a year, saved up all their money and everything, and they went and they bought their dream house. And I'm like,
Yeah.
kudos to you, because
Mhm.
I could not do it. Like close quarters for me, I'm like, I need
Yeah.
some space. Like without my office right now, I'm dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I told my husband I need a she shed. And
Yes.
he's like refusing. Well, he's not refusing. It's too cold outside for him to build my she shed. I can't say it. She shed. Sorry.
Yeah.
Dawn, you spent a lot of time in that RV. I mean, it was a
We
couple
did.
years
It
because
was
yeah.
2 years. Well, so
Mhm.
we lost we lost everything with the RV in Hurricane Harvey. And then the Coast Guard was like, "You're transferring. No, you're not. You're transferring. No, you're not." And like my husband was injured, so it's like for 2 years the Coast Guard's like, "What are we going to do with you? We don't know." And so finally they
Mhm.
transferred us. And then we got to live in Virginia for a
Yeah.
couple
Oh,
You've
years.
been through a lot of houses during Romance Happy Hour. We've seen
Yeah.
a lot of backgrounds for you.
Mhm.
oh.
This is
I'm
my final one, I think. Well,
Good.
I I don't know, because my husband maybe wants to get one, like, I don't know, we're talking about if once the boys graduate,
Mm,
buying a cabin
mhm.
out there in Sula with the veterans community and then getting like a fifth wheeler or, something and go, I don't know. I want to buy a house down in the Florida or something and have 2
Mhm.
houses, but he's like, we'll
I
see.
mean, not right now because it's snowing,
No, no, no. I have to kick my other 2 out of the house first.
right.
Yeah.
The
I
weather has been crazy
Yeah.
this week. It's been really just
Yeah.
yeah,
wild.
I
-2
know.
here today. What's that, you guys? You said
So
20?
it was 16 degrees this morning.
Okay.
I was really upset. My husband and I were sharing TikToks when all that snow was coming down in the south in New Orleans. Like
Mhm.
Lyra Parrish posted a picture or a video of New Orleans with snow. I'm like,
Mhm.
what in the heck? What about Idaho? Because we have
Mhm.
Yeah.
literally gotten a dusting and that's it. We haven't
Yeah.
gotten
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this garbage? I
What's
want snow
funny,
days.
when
I
we
miss you,
lived
sir.
in Texas, it
Mhm.
snowed at 3 a.m. one day, and they canceled all the schools. And then
Mhm.
the next day when we woke up, like you couldn't even go on the freeways because the overpasses were closed.
Mhm.
Like,
Just how much snow?
I mean, it melted by 6.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So
Oh, like the whole like meme of like the little girl running out of the grocery store with milk and like bread. That's like real for some states. Like they like
Mhm.
freak
yeah,
out.
they
Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
they freak out
Yep.
down there.
Oh
Yep.
no, I walk out like Winifred. Oh, another glorious morning. Makes me sick. No, I love I actually was really excited when we moved to Idaho because I love snow. I love snow though when I get to stay home. I
Yes.
just admire it.
Mhm.
and have a
Agreed.
fire going and read a book or write or knit, whatever. And then
Yes.
all of a sudden, yeah.
I love snow until Christmas, and then I'm over it after Christmas.
Well, you probably get a lot more than we do. I don't know how high up in the Montana E's you are, but
Yeah, we're
you
about
probably get a lot
45
more than
minutes from salmon, so not too much. Right now it's all melted though. We'll get it dumped and then we won't. But we lived in Valdez at one point. We were stationed in Valdez, Alaska, and that's the number one snowiest city in America. And overnight it would snow 6 feet.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah,
Lake Tahoe's like that. And
yeah,
it's insane to me. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how do you people live here? That's what I used to like when we would drive through.
yeah.
Because I grew up in Northern California, but we don't talk about that in Idaho. Because so my girlfriends and I in our 20s and everything, the place to hit was Lake Tahoe. We would go up and we would go dancing, and they liked to gamble. I didn't. I don't know. I like dancing. But we would be driving up and see all of that snow, and all I could think of is, how can you live here? I thought you can't even open your door.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just but that I also feel that way about Florida sometimes, because how can you live here when there's an alligator literally like in your pool? In your pool. Like,
Yeah, I think you just get used to stuff.
oh my gosh. I guess my girlfriends and I went to Florida for an author trip, and it was so much fun, but they had like the cage thing, like the big like protecting dome around the pool and everything to keep the critters out. And I was like, I saw a bunny hop by. I saw this big lizard like crawl across the top, and I'm like, what's up? But I'm like in the pool, like, please don't drop in the pool. Please don't drop in the pool. And my husband's like telling me, check the the thing for snakes because they like to hide in there. I'm like, stop it.
Yeah.
It's mean.
I think you just get used to where you are.
Yep. Yeah, it's true.
We need to hear from your book, because
Yeah.
we've now talked for a long time, which I've really enjoyed, but I think our viewers and listeners are going to want to actually hear from your book. So what are you reading from tonight?
So I am reading from Finding Mr. Perfect. It is
Cute illustrated cover.
It is the second book in my Meowin' Forever series. This one is the first book is about the veterinarian who co-owns the cat cafe. This one is about the baker who co-owns the cat cafe. Her name's Charity, and she ends up on a New Year's trip to escape her meddling parents with Will, who is the hero from the first book's best friend and partner. And Charity and Will don't exactly get along, but they have a little bit of a connection when they're down there, and end up fake dating when they get back just to get their parents off their back.
Okay.
So it's fun and flirty, and there is, I think my favorite thing is I love my secondary characters so much. So like Will's sister and his mom and all that. I love to put in those secondary characters that I kind of fall in love with anyways. So I think, but nobody ever can steal Pike's thunder.
So are you starting from page 1, or do we need a setup?
No, I am going to, let's see. I am going to start from they are at a New Year's Eve party at this resort in Mexico, and they're just having a good time together. So that's where I'm going to start. Each chapter begins with a cat inspired recipe, since she's a baker. And in the first book, each chapter started with a a cat profile for adoptable cats. So, and there's a little uh Avogato Cafe, and I think it's Iowa, where they actually inspired a lot of the menu items. They're amazing. So, Catitude fruit tart. This sweet dessert will remind you of your favorite calico. Even when they're a little tart, you still want another. So,
all right, we are going to let you get to it, and we will be back when you're done.
Okay. Charity's stomach hurt from laughing, and it was the best ache. They'd been on the dance floor for 20 minutes, and while they nearly they had to nearly shout to be heard over the music, their conversation had gone from depressing state of her love life to his funny anecdotes about his failed relationships. Between his tales of dating misadventures and random wacky dance moves, she'd been dying. Want to grab another fruit tart on our way back to the table? He asked breathlessly. The server probably came by with our dinner and wondered where we got off to. Aha! I knew you were going to like the fruit tarts. Chocolate schmocklet. Hey, I can like other desserts and still believe chocolate is the goat. Goat, greatest of all time, or in this case, the T stands for treats. Charity laughed in spite of herself. You're a nerd. I dated a con man who used to call me that. Really? I thought you were straight. Will chuckled. I mean, con woman. I met her on a dating app. She was great at computers. The only thing she didn't lie about, and opened several credit cards in my name before I found out. But luckily, she couldn't completely obliterate my credit. It did make did make me wary of dating apps. Last guy I met on a dating app had a pregnant girlfriend. So yeah, I don't trust those either. They stopped at the dessert table and Will picked up 2 tarts, handing one to her. Wow, that sucks. How'd you find that one out? She showed up at the restaurant where we were eating, dumped my drink on me and not him. Will shook his head. I'll never understand that reaction. He took a bite of the tart and a smear of cream lingered on his lips for a moment. Charity found herself focused on his mouth until he licked it away. Her face flushed with heat and her gaze darted around, looking anywhere except his mouth. If my girlfriend was out with another man, Will continued, oblivious to her discomfort, I'd be upset with her, not the dude. Girlfriend? I didn't know you had those. You called them women you've dated. Charity used her free hand to make quotation marks with her fingers before taking a bite of her tart. Will grinned, pulling out her chair for her. Well, when I get one, you tend to flirt a lot, she said, taking her seat. He didn't answer right away, as if considering whether she may be right. I guess I do, but I'm a single guy. If I was with someone, that wouldn't happen. Could you help it? I think it's second nature to you. Will frowned as he sat down next to her. I'm a friendly guy, but there's a difference between being nice and flirting. I'd never do anything to make my partner uncomfortable, and I'd make sure she knew I was fully committed to her. Why did the deepening in his voice kick her heart rate up a notch? A man and a woman who appeared around their age approached the table, stopping behind 2 of the empty chairs across from them. Do you mind if we join you? The woman asked. Not at all, Will said, waving to the seats. Please, Charity responded at the same time, grateful for the distraction. Being with Will was exactly what she needed tonight, if not for those pesky moments when he did or said something that made her lose her mind and imagine kissing him. Thank you so much, the woman said, sitting down. She wore a purple iridescent sleeveless gown, her long brown hair falling around her shoulders. I'm Maribel, and this is my husband, Tom. We're from Texas. I apologize, I can't do a Texas accent. I would never want to offend anyone from Texas. I wouldn't want to offend anyone in general, but I'm just saying. I don't want to offend you by trying to do it accents because I'm terrible. Hello, Tom said, smoothing his shirt down the front of his stocky frame. His dark hair was threaded with strands of gray, and his eyes were heavy-lidded, as if he'd already had a couple of drinks. I'm Charity, and this is Will. We're from California. Very nice to meet you, Maribel said. How long have you been married? Charity asked after spotting the gorgeous diamond on her ring finger. 10 years, Tom replied, placing his arm around the back of his wife's chair. How about the 2 of you? Oh, we're not together. Charity didn't love how quickly Will blurted that out, even if it was the truth, but took it in stride. We're just friends. Charity noticed Will turned her away and wondered if he was thinking that they weren't. But obviously, she didn't have a better explanation for being out with him tonight. It wasn't a date, so what else was she supposed to say? Really? You look comfortable, like you've been a couple for years. Maribel piped in, her bright blue eyes shifting between them, placing a hand on her husband's arm. Tom and I met in college. 2 kids and a mortgage later, here we are. The two of them kissed with a touch more enthusiasm than was appropriate for a public event, and Charity glanced over at Will, sharing an awkward smile with him. Sorry, Tom said, releasing Maribel with a sheepish grin. It's been amazing getting away from the kids and reconnecting as a couple again. We get so busy with everything, sometimes you neglect each other without meaning to. Forgive us for doing all the talking, Maribel waved a hand towards Charity and Will. What do you two do? They looked at each other momentarily before Charity piped in. Will is a marketing genius and design guru. He completely rebranded the business I created with my best friend, and it saved us. Will beamed at her, and Charity realized she may have sounded as if she were gushing about him, but it was his work, not him personally. What business do you own? Maribel asked. Will jumped in. Charity and her partner own a cat cafe. She handles the cafe side and creates amazing mouth-watering food and desserts. Charity warmed at his praise and brushed her hand against the back of his before she realized what she was doing. She tried to casually reach past his hand for her water glass and took a sip, her brain screaming at her. They weren't actually on a date, and no matter how comfortable they may seem to other people, he wasn't right for her. Are you so sure he's the womanizing jerk you assume he... Ugh, I'm so sorry. Are you so sure he's the womanizing jerk you assumed he was? No, but even if Charity had doubts about Will's character being shady, how could she trust it given her history? Oh, I wish I wasn't allergic to cats, Maribel bemoaned, drawing Charity out of her thoughts. Tom is actually a better cook, and he likes doing it, so I don't mind letting him. It frees me up to take the kids to activities, and Maribel continued talking as the server returned with Charity and Will's salad, her stomach rumbling. She hated to be rude and eat in front of these strangers, but the 2 fruit tarts had done nothing to take the edge off her hunger. The server took Maribel and Tom's order while Charity nearly polished off her salad and caught Will watching her, his fork resting on his plate. Good? He asked, clearly amused. Yeah, why? Do I have food all over my face? She asked. No, I just like your enthusiasm. It matches mine. I noticed, Charity said, taking another drink of her water. Telling me how good my food tastes is one of the things I like about you. Oh, so you like me now, he teased. Charity gave him a small smile. Maybe a little.
Sorry, I was unmuting us and getting us all back on the screen.
No, you're all good.
Seconds. So,
Yeah.
Dawn, you didn't put the link.
Oh, shoot.
Oh,
Gosh, dang it. I knew there was something I was missing. Oh, here, I'm doing it now.
Because I was like, oh, you didn't put the link to the book she was reading from.
And I apologize. I am a terrible reader. So.
No, I thought you did just fine.
You did. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Because I stumbled a little bit. I was like, oh, no.
That's all right. So. Nope. It was cute. And you know what? Our listeners and viewers love it. You know, there's something special about when an author reads their own work.
I agree.
Yeah,
I listened to an really audiobook with the Misadventure series. Like Misadventures with Yep. Okay. Several of the audiobooks were read by the authors, and I found it absolutely amazing. In fact, there was one in particular, and I'm trying to remember her name, but she has a very sultry voice. She could read all my audiobooks. Girl, do it. Do it. You're good.
Yeah. It makes a big difference, I think, because there have been audiobooks that I've listened to where, I mean, I could literally listen to the narrator read the dictionary and just absolutely hang on every word. And then there have been other audiobooks where it's like the narrator just kills it for it, I mean, it just
it's true. And it's terrible.
It just doesn't. And it's so funny because it's, it's so subjective because one narrator that I absolutely love, it might be the next person. That's somebody that, it's like, I cannot listen to that. No matter what they read, I cannot listen to that one. It's like nails on a chalkboard. I'm like, how can you say that?
Yep. No,
awesome.
I know. And that's what's so funny is we all have different tastes. Like I picked I get like a choice of 3 usually whenever there's an audiobook option. And I get to pick out of those like 3 girls or if they are doing like a duet, then I get to choose out of that. And I'm like, well, sometimes they have a really good audition, but then they do the book and you're like, oh, I don't like them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that happen before. And I'm like, oh, that's super disappointing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you know, it is what it is. So I had readers like reach out to me and like tell me that they didn't like one of my male narrators on one of my books. And I'm like, really? Because he was so good in the audition.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's funny. So, and I haven't actually taken the leap and listened to that one yet. So I struggled for years, honestly, because my very first novella that I wrote, it went through 3 rounds of edits, copy edits, and you know, it's a 30,000 word novella or whatever. And in the first chapter, he has brown. Just brown. No hair. Just brown.
I was like, brown eyes, brown hair, brown. He just has brown.
He just has brown. So he was supposed to have brown hair, but somehow he didn't end up with that.
Just has brown.
So ever since I read that, I have been like, oh, so I could not read my books for the longest time.
Yeah.
Because all I would do was spot the flaws and what I could have done better. And when you start off traditionally published, you can't change it once it's published. But then when indies like jumped into this gloriousness, I remember going to my first conference after I published my first book, and my second book was due to come out in a couple of months, and I felt so awkward around all these giant names and all of these sophisticated authors. Like I went to an Avon party and I just felt completely out of place. I was hiding behind my camera just taking pictures of people because I didn't want to mingle. I was terrified of them. But I remember walking through the book signings, and there was the indie alley over here, and it was in 2013. I walked in there, and it was such a warm, thrilling energy. Like people were like so excited to tell you about their books. They were like so welcoming. They were like drawing you in. It was absolutely the best experience. And I remember reading 2 of those indie authors on the airplane ride home, and I still have those books on my shelf. They are absolutely freaking fabulous. And that was the energy that I was like looking for. That. And I'm not saying that like all of the events I went to with like traditional authors were like that. It was just I felt very out of place. I felt like I didn't belong there because it was when they just had digital first authors. So I was part of Avon Impulse, so I wasn't a print author. I didn't get print advance and everything. So the other authors are looking at me like, what are you? I'm like, and then they're like, how many books? I had an author once ask me, how many books have you written in a year? And I'm like, oh, I wrote 5 last year. And she goes, oh my gosh, I just don't think I could put out anything that many books and have them be good or something like that. It was very insulting. I'm like, yeah. And then I look at like other women, like the Calendar Girl series, where she wrote literally released 1 a month and everything. And I'm going, girl, that's a New York, that's a best-selling author right there. And she wrote them like, so like, it all depends on how fast you write and you know what you got to say. So
right. Well, and I think that's what is so interesting because now we've had, I don't know, hundreds of authors who have come on the show, and everybody's process is different.
Right.
Yes. And in fact, my son's 6th grade teacher asked me to come here in a month or so and like talk to them about the writing process because she wants me to tell them to write the first draft and then write the second draft and write the third draft. And like, she's not going to like it when I be like, your process is your process.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to speak at my, at career day at the high school. And it was really funny because sometimes, I mean, I live in a very, there's lots of different religions and everything
Mhm.
like that, and it's not a huge like romance like rah.
Mhm.
Lots of women will read romance, but it's also like
Mhm.
so when I told them I write romance and everything, and she's like, "Oh, okay," and she's like talking to me, and she goes, "Well, do you just indie or this?" I'm like, "No, I'm both. I'm hybrid," and she's like, "Okay," and I'm like, so we'll see how that goes.
Mhm.
I got invited to a writers group where nobody wrote romance, but they wanted to know about my James Patterson deal that I got in 2016. So they invited me. But this one woman could not hold in her contempt for me. She was like in her like 70s. And just I was talking about the writing process and we were talking about 50 Shades of Grey because it had just come out like in the movies. And I said, people like what they like. And
Mhm.
it's, even if you don't like it or you don't think it's well written or whatever, it is like crack because it's easy to get into, to connect to,
Mhm.
and you get through it and everything. And I mean, you can have a book that somebody else hates that absolutely saved your life.
Mhm. Yep.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter if it's it's how it connects and resonates with you. And
Mhm.
so, and that's like the things that I said, and they when I wouldn't tell them about my James Patterson deal because I signed a non-disclosure agreement, that's when it really got tense. And I'm like, okay, I need to leave now. And as I'm walking out, this woman was just so snotty. I said, have I offended you in some way? And she goes, you just don't need to write like that. I wrote a Christian book that was behind closed doors and there was barely any touching, and my pastor's wife got pregnant 9 and had a baby 9 months after she read it. And
Oh
I'm
my gosh.
like, and she was like, so you don't have to write like that in order to titillate people. And I said, oh, well, I like to write like that. Then I went to my car and I cried
Right?
because
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like,
I
you're
mean,
yeah.
making me
I
don't
feel
know.
like indie just the indie publishing has come a long ways
Mhm.
Mhm.
since, 2016 or 2015 or, whenever that
Yeah.
happened. But yeah, I mean there are a lot of authors who we never would have heard of if it hadn't been for indie publishing, and some of the, like some of my favorite books, they wouldn't exist if indie publishing hadn't come about. And I think it's amazing. You can kind of build your author career however you want. If you want to go for a trad deal, then by all means,
Right.
take
Mhm.
that path. If you want to go indie, then, I feel like there's options available right now that
Yeah.
it's wonderful. And for readers too, because I think a lot of times I'm a hybrid author too. But I feel like at least when I first started with traditional publishing, I mean, they wouldn't put more than, like 2 books out a year.
Right.
And
Mhm.
so, I mean, a reader's gonna read a book in probably, I mean, a lot of romance readers are so voracious too. They'll read more than 1 book a day.
Right.
If you only have a book coming out every 6 months, that's that's a lot
Right.
of time they have to wait in between. But,
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
I mean, some authors might write 1 book a year and good for them, and others might write a book a month and good for them. And I think it's just awesome that there's so many choices and that
And that
there are
there's
so many
room for
options for
yeah,
readers and authors right now.
Yes.
yeah, there's
Yes.
room for everybody and everybody's
Mhm.
style.
Right.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is, so publishers for the longest time are like, "Oh, we can't print that.
Mhm.
We can't market this." That was the biggest thing I always heard is, "We can't market this.
Right.
Yeah.
This won't sell."
Yeah, I
Um, but
sorry.
the indie sphere has proven, especially like book talk and everything like that,
Mhm.
yes, it will.
Mhm.
You have to
Mhm.
get it to the right audience. You have to
Right.
put it in the right thing, but it will sell. I mean, who would have thought 10 years ago how popular stalker romances would be?
Mhm.
Mm.
Lights Out was absolutely fabulous, especially the freaking audiobook version. Oh my
Mhm.
god, I died. that narrator like killed me. I was like, I fell in love with him. So I mean, I
Yep.
love that one. So
There's something for everybody.
and
Yeah.
it's funny because
If you write it, someone
Yep.
else, I just feel like if there's a book that you want to write, there's probably a reader for it. So
I
Yep.
agree.
Yeah.
that's the biggest
Dawn,
thing.
we've gone this entire time and haven't asked a single question.
Yeah. So, well, Catherine did. So we did earlier.
Oh, that's
and
true.
honestly,
Okay, we did. We asked about the table scene, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we're like coming up on an hour and we haven't really even asked a question yet.
Yes.
so-
I
But
mean,
we've been vibing. We've been having like
Oh,
conversations.
Totally. So I would like to know, how did you get your start in publishing then? Because it sounds like you have a little bit of history in romance writing. So tell us
Okay.
real quick and a short version of how did you get started in publishing romance?
So in 2012, I was turning 30 and decided I was going to write my first book because I'd wanted to be a writer since I was 11. We'd moved from Northern California to a basement in Idaho. It was the winter time. We had one car and my husband worked 40 hours a week. So I was home with 2 toddlers. And so when they were napping, I was writing. When they were playing, I was writing. And that first book was awful. It had a little bit of everything. I think it had time travel in it too. But you know what? It did lead me to query 8 agents.
Mhm.
None of them, I don't think, they all responded very, very politely, except for the last one who just ignored me. And then I saw an advertisement on Facebook of all places for Avon Books, and they had an open call for Valentine's Day novellas. And it was open to whoever wanted to submit. I had 10 days. I wrote The Trouble Was Sexy, submitted it right before the deadline, and 10 days later I got an email from an editor at Avon saying we would like to publish your book.
That's
Wow.
fabulous.
Yeah.
So it was in a little anthology called Kiss Me, and it was with 2 other new authors who hadn't been published before. It was fun. And I spent that entire winter writing, trying to get another contract and writing and submitting to my editor. And she'd tell me, I can't really market this, or I don't have a place for this. And then I sent her The Trouble Was Sexy. I sent her Things Good Girls Don't Do. And she goes, I got this. This we can do something with. And it ended up having to be delayed because during the editing process, I added 35,000 words, which is how I found out that during the editing process, I'm actually a grower, not a shower.
Okay.
So my drafts get turned in a little on the shorter side, and then I go,
Yeah.
but and then when that book came out, it did so well that they offered me another contract. And then when those books came, then I got another contract. And so that's how I got my start in publishing, which is kind of a fun story to tell people. And it's been ups and downs. Like, it's not instant success. It was, holy moly, I'm doing really, really, really good. And then and then it was, okay, great. I've got steady work. Okay, I'm liking this and all that. And that's how publishing is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it's super funny to me. Like, and I love watching and hearing about other authors' experiences when it comes to publishing, because I know that there are people who are like, when they don't hit it on the first try, they're like, oh, I give up. And I'm like, girl, I sold my first book and my first royalty check was $147 for like 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
It's
going. Keep
a tough
writing.
industry. It really can be. Yeah.
You have to love it though.
Yeah.
You have to love it. And that's the one thing I tell authors all the time is, you better love that manuscript when you turn it in, because I'm telling you right now, by the time that you get done with edits and copy edits, you're going to hate it. You're never going to want to look at that thing again. You're going to be like, absolutely not. And then you'll read it a few years down the road when you get over all your anxieties and you get into your 40s and you just don't care anymore. And you'll be like, oh, this this isn't so bad. I wrote that. That's actually funny. Holy moly, what happened? So
Mhm.
Yeah. Hey, Catherine has a question for you. What do you have coming up?
so I am re-releasing the last 2 books that were originally in my Rock Canyon series as a whole new spin-off series, Rock Canyon Confidential. I have 2 series that I am handing over to my agent. Hopefully she'll be able to find homes for. And I have I've pulled down Drive Me Crazy and am spicing it up because it just wasn't working for me. And that's the best thing about indie publishing is I can do that.
Mhm.
And then I have several new series first books that I'm looking at publishing this year because I'm going through my already been written but sitting in the dust pile. And I'm gonna start cleaning up my computer and getting some of those out into the world for readers to actually enjoy. Because just because the publisher didn't want them doesn't mean there isn't an audience
Yeah.
for them.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Very true.
So
Okay, we got one more.
Okay.
What was the last book you read or listened to?
so this one's not going to be very fun. It was for college. It was there. I think it's Tommy Orange. It's about I had to read it for one of my classes, and it was about Native Americans in modern day. It was about 7 different Native American people who are coming together for a big powwow in Oakland, and each one of them has a different reason for going. And the reason why I say I didn't love it as much as I wish I would have.
Mhm.
It started off very slow. When they started interconnecting with the characters, and you could see the connections between the characters, it got more interesting. And then you got to the end and it was so like, what the heck just happened? And then it was over and I'm going, wait, what? There were unresolved things that I did not get.
Yeah.
And
You didn't get your closure?
I didn't get my closure, but so that bothered me a lot. I'm still listening to Megan Quinn's How the Neighbor Stole Christmas. Because it's hard to listen to an audiobook when you have 5 kids in a house. In your car all the time. And then I am I have 2 print books that I am reading simultaneously. And then I'm reading It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover because I saw the movie, and then with all the drama that's going on, like with everything, I wanted to know, okay, how the heck did they screw up the movie so bad? Because that's all I keep hearing about. Oh, they screwed up the movie, or they screwed up the book. They screwed up the book. I guess they screwed, right?
Yeah.
If I have been a pot and I did not.
No, you were good.
Oh,
Usually I'm the bad one.
Okay.
You can say screwed up. Yes, that's totally fine.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was keeping it clean because but I wanted to know because everybody was like talking about her outfits and how like what the heck. And so I wanted to read the book and kind of compare to the movie. So that's what I do, and I jump around, especially I'm a mood reader. So it depends, and if something's not doing it for me, I'm like, That's why I keep looking at like all those like Lassoed and like all of those westerny ones right now, and I'm going,
Delilah Sage, Done and Dusted, and they're good.
Like, maybe I need a western like mix. So
yeah,
but I want dark western.
Well, there's a different author for that.
Yeah, right. Somebody tell me a different author.
There's something for everyone.
Western author.
I will get you some recommendations. Yeah, I tend to read like the lighter stuff. I don't read a whole bunch of dark, but well, you know what? We'll ask our viewers and listeners. So if you have dark Western romance recommendations for Codi, put them in the comments so she can check them out.
Yeah, I'm a flirting with the dark side kind of girl. I love I love my spicy romances and my rom-coms and everything like that. I
Mhm.
love my historicals. That's why I perked up when you were talking about historicals.
Yeah.
I grew up on Julia Quinn and Eloisa James.
Yep.
I'm like,
Yes,
ooh.
me too.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
And so like, and Johanna Lindsay and all
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
So her westerns. Oh.
Mhm.
So yeah, so like my best friend though, she reads like strictly dark romance. So like
Okay.
she's always the one who's like feeding me these. So I've been flirting with the dark side over here. Meanwhile, I have all of these other ones over here. I have too many books.
Mm.
Not enough time and not enough
There's
years left.
you never have too many books. You just don't have enough time, like you just
Yeah,
said.
I think that's a problem we all face.
Yeah.
But
I wish we could all like retire at like 45 with
mhm,
like millions of dollars and just live out the rest of our lives happy reading books.
Buy a
that would be
pool.
awesome.
Right?
You know what? I would like to put some energy behind that wish as well. So
Yes.
Right?
But speaking of out of time, Dylan, I think we're
I
almost
know. Yeah.
Sorry guys.
We no, that's
You're-
I'm
we
a
yeah, we
really
diva.
did go
enjoyed
over.
chatting with you tonight. Before we let you go, where is the best place for our readers and viewers to find you? Do you
TikTok
hang
and
out most on
Instagram.
Facebook
Okay.
or Instagram or
So it's TikTok and Instagram.
okay?
I know TikTok got banned for 14 hours and everything,
Mhm.
and everybody was scared, but yeah, I'm not on Facebook as much as I should be. And Instagram is just super easy for me because I can just pick
Mhm.
and I got this. Or and they're like, and if I'm not in the mood to put this mug on TikTok, I can cut. So that is the best place to you can even email me. You can go to my website, get my email, and just be like, hi, I just wanted to say I love your books or I hate your books. I don't like those emails, but I mean you can do that if you want to. So
All right. Well, Cody, it has been fantastic chatting with you. Thanks for sharing your reading with us tonight. We really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully some of our viewers and listeners have found a new author to read. So, but we
thank you.
definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your chaotic, busy schedule.
Yes.
Thank
and
you. Thank
and
you.
hopefully it warms up for all of us soon.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Yes, I hope so.
any parting thoughts from you, Dawn?
Oh, my only thought just now, because you said hopefully it warms up, was I hope springs come sooner rather than later. That was my only thought.
I know we haven't even had Groundhog Day yet, and I'm already
I
thinking
know.
like, "Come on, spring, come on."
When can I start my plants? Is what I
We'll
think.
we'll have to see. So,
Aw.
all right. Well, thanks
All
for
right.
joining us for another
Thank
episode of
you.
Romance Happy Hour. We will be back the second Thursday in February. I can't even believe it's already going to be February, but there we are. So, yeah, we'll see you the second Thursday in February. And until then, happy reading, everybody, and stay warm.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.